It's not like we didn't warn you. Before President Trump assumed power in the White House, we had on a Trump attorney named Mike Davis, who had a little warning to Letitia James.
This to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you that. So think long and hard before.
Your reaction to some good news.
Yeah, it's another win for President Trump. And like you said, they're addicts. They're addicted to lawfare. We know this. They are not accepting the change in the administration. And it's ironic, really, to watch. But I will say this. We did win today. They allowed us to move forward with the very generous plan that the president proposed, which is that you need to come to work if you're paid by the American people and if you're a federal employee. I show up to work every day. And if you choose not to do so, that's your prerogative. Guess what? We'll even give you up until October's pay. No problem. But you got to go. And it's funny that they even tried to stop this, really. It's crazy to even say that. But today we had a win despite their lawfare, but despite them trying to stop the administration, who was mandated on November 5th to do exactly this, stop government waste and have the federal government work for the American people.
President Trump defending Doge and its efforts to root out corruption in the government. He's touting the early results already and blasting the courts for ruling against the department, which could play out for some time now. The Attorney General, fresh on the job, is Pam Bondi, and she's got a beautiful backdrop there at the North Lawn of the White House. And thank you for your time, and good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, I want to play a soundbite from yesterday about the judges here. Here is President Trump on that.
We want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation.
Just that comment in there about maybe we have to look at the judges. What does that mean?
Well, Bill, we have so many unelected judges who are trying to control government spending, and there is a clear separation of powers. You know, they're doing it to Elon Musk, who is a great man and a good friend at Doge. What they're doing to him is to our country is outrageous. You know, people work their whole lives and pay taxes, yet they find out that they've been giving $2 million to Guatemala for sex changes. It's outrageous, and it's going to stop. We're going to fight back, not only with U.S. aid and all these other agencies, but, you know, this is happening every day. But DOJ, we are prepared to defend all of these cases, and we will carry out President Trump's agenda.
Got it. In time, and you may be
country.
Successful in that, but the president can't go after these judges, so to speak.
Well, these judges are lifetime appointments, but what we can do is appeal them. And that's what's actually happening today in a case. We're appealing a case right now. It went up to the First Circuit, and the First Circuit sent it back to the district court to clarify. And if they don't rule in our favor, we will go to the United States Supreme Court and get clarification and get a ruling, because we have outrageous, overzealous, unconstitutional judges trying to control federal spending. And, you know, that's what's been happening to Kristi Noem. The Roosevelt Hotel, of course, is the most prominent example of that.
Flashback. Elon Musk has accused the Federal Emergency Management Agency of diverting funds meant for American disaster relief. According to Musk, FEMA sent a staggering $59 million to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants, a move he says violates the president's executive order and is a gross misuse of taxpayer money. Musk claimed that his Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, recently uncovered the funds and vowed that a clawback demand will be made to recoup the money. This controversy comes as the Trump administration intensifies efforts to overhaul FEMA. Last month, President Trump signed an executive order establishing a council to review the agency amid concerns over political bias. The new directive calls for the council's first meeting within 90 days and requires a report of its findings within 180 days. Trump has been long critical of FEMA, arguing that the agency bungles emergency relief efforts and should either be fundamentally reformed or even dismantled. He has previously denounced FEMA's performance, asserting that federal disaster aid should be given directly to states rather than managed by an inefficient agency. Funding for FEMA has soared in recent years following several high-profile weather disasters, and the agency now faces scrutiny over how it allocates emergency resources. The Trump administration's latest measures are part of a broader strategy to ensure that federal funds are used solely for American disaster relief and to strengthen national security.
We're very familiar with the Roosevelt Hotel, just a few blocks from our studio here in Midtown Manhattan. Yeah. Another topic now, ICE going after illegal criminals in various cities. Tom Homan was asked about that. You mentioned Kristi Noem, too. They're pushing back hard. Here was Tom Homan with Sean last night.
Tom, where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute.
Strong language, and I heard language from you yesterday that echoed that. Between Noem and Homan and you. Reports in the LA Times about ICE raids happening days before they take place. We heard stories this morning out of Denver, Colorado. It was similar there in local newspapers. Have you found the leaker as of now?
And Bill, I can't talk about anything ongoing, of course, but what I will say, and to explain to you and the American people why this is so wrong and so illegal, is anytime you leak anything about a pending investigation, what do? You jeopardize the lives of our men and women in law enforcement who are going in there to make these arrests. It's dangerous enough making these arrests. Yet when you leak it and give criminals a heads up that they are coming, it could jeopardize lives. And that is illegal, and we will not tolerate it in the FBI, in any department within the United States government.
But as the moment, you don't have any names or...
I can't talk about any of that with you.
With regard to the FBI, there's the potential for layoffs or terminations. What do you think of that? And should there be concerns at the FBI?
Well, there are great, I've been working with them. There are great men and women within the FBI. And I want to make that crystal clear. We all believe that. They are the troops on the ground who want to be going back to their core function, fighting violent crime. DEA, ATF, FBI, they want to get the criminals off the streets. That's what we're going to do. We're going to restore them to their core function. Are there bad people in there? Yes. Will we find them? Yes. Will we root them out? Absolutely. But the majority of the men and women in law enforcement are great people, and we want to keep them to do their jobs and enable them to do their jobs. I think most of the problems in upper management.
Wow. Okay, Pam Bondi, thank you for your time. Come back soon, okay?
Meanwhile...
I'm sorry we were a little bit late. I was in the West Wing swearing in Tulsi Gabbard, and so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James.
Flashback.
It's not like we didn't warn you. Before President Trump assumed power in the White House, we had on a Trump attorney named Mike Davis, who had a little warning to Letitia James.
This to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you that. So think long and hard before...
Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment.
Flashback.
New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. With me today, I'm so proud to be joined by Tammy Nobles. Tammy is an angel mom. Her beautiful daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered by an MS-13 member in 2022. Kayla had just turned 20 years old, just turned 20 years old, and she was raped and murdered by someone who should not have been in our country. Yet, he was released, flown to Maryland, where he committed this violent murder. I just want you to hear from, Tammy. Tammy represents not only herself and her family, but all of the great angel moms around this country who have suffered because of what the Biden administration did, and it is over.
Thank you for having me here today and being able to share Kayla's story. Her murderer was able to come across the border knowing that he was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and he had a criminal record in 2020 in El Salvador for illicit gang activity. He came over as an unoccupied alien child, saying that he was afraid of gang activity in his country. Health and Human Services called him a nice boy, and he showed age-appropriate behavior. That fell so wrong when he murdered my daughter. He ended up in Maryland, where he was able to rent a room in the same mobile home as her. We thought it was a legit company that were renting out these rooms, but it turned out that it was another illegal immigrant who owned these mobile homes. And he knew Walter from El Salvador. He knew him and allowed him to rent a room with my child. Kayla just turned 20 years old 3 days before she was murdered. Her murderer was only living there for 5 days before he viciously strangled her, raped her, and left her on the floor like trash and robbed her of $6. I have been sharing her story for over 2.5 years to bring change, because this should have not have ever happened to Kayla, and it shouldn't be happening to other families being hurt by the border. Homeland Security did not do their jobs. They did not check his background. You know, they did say that he was processed. So if they processed him, they knew that he was a gang member and still allowed him here. Health and Human Services did not verify the sponsor and allowed him to go with a sponsor that they don't even know if it was his cousin or his aunt. And he was able to leave the sponsor's house to go live wherever he wanted. And I am going to continue sharing Kayla's story to help save others and to bring awareness of what was happening under the Biden-Harris administration. And I'm so thankful for Pam having me here today. And I'm so thankful for the opportunities I got from Trump and any other platform, you know, people who allowed me to share her story, because this is going to end. No other parent should suffer by having their child murdered by somebody that shouldn't be here. And I'm going to continue, you know, sharing it, and for Kayla, you know, and also for others. Thank you.
And it's my understanding that he also admitted to other murders, correct? Multiple murders.
He wrote a letter, and it was intercepted in jail, that he committed 4 murders and 2 rapes.
And that's who we were letting walk into our country. And that's why President Trump has directed this to stop. And if you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois. Strike 1. Strike 2 is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next. Get ready. And the great men and women of law enforcement are standing behind me today. We have FBI, DEA, ATF agents. They put their lives on the line every single day to protect us. And what New York has, they have green light laws, meaning they're giving a green light to any illegal alien in New York, where law enforcement officers cannot check their identity if they pull them over. Law enforcement officers do not have access to their background. And if these great men and women pull over someone and don't have access to their background, they have no idea who they're dealing with. And it puts their lives on the line every single day. Violent criminals, gang members, drug traffickers, human smugglers will no longer terrorize the American people. And that is why we are here today. You will be held accountable if you do not follow federal law. It's over, it ends, and we're coming after you.